We are Legion.
What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and it's Sunday, so that means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and more. But before we get into any of that, check this out. Huge shout out to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the monthly Legion Loot giveaway for the channel members. We just did an epic box battle with the Big Time Collectible Miko Suyon mystery boxes this past week. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already, and check out bigtimecollectibles.com. And if you're looking to get anything cleaned or pressed, hit up Justin Comics on Instagram. He can take care of you for as little as $10 a book. And if you use that promo code WeAreLegion, you can take advantage of that special offer that he's got running right now. And I say that every time, but his special offers change. So that's why I don't just say what the special offer is, because I don't want to misquote what he's running currently. But if I need somebody to misquote anybody on anything, I've got just the guy for it. Hailing all the way from Texas, we got new guy Ryan. What is happening?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I am terrible with quotes. So never tell me anything you want to be repeated accurately. I will put my own fresh spin on it.
That's what video footage is for. Check the tape, homie. So the Comic Vet has had a busy week, and he's not going to be here tonight. He hasn't had a chance to read and get caught up on everything, and said just to go ahead and rock and roll without him. But expect to see Chris next week again. So let's say hey to a couple of people that have already popped in the chat. Big Nosh was up in here early. He said, "Let's go." No, just kidding. I will try to catch the show. I got a lot to do tonight. But I hope I can catch new guy drop the mic. Boom, boom, boom. We got Mr. DJ Leaks pops in here with the year. Let's get it, Leak Squad. We are leaving. It is at week's end already, most definitely. And it is a big week for comics. So the majority of this show is definitely going to be covering that. There's some newsworthy stuff that happened this past week that I'll definitely want to touch on in the beginning here. But it's going to be a lot of comic talk tonight. What is going on? Wheelchair Superhero 87. Kyle is up in the building. Hey, comic fam. So, see, Callie, obviously most notable, the biggest thing that happened this week is Neil Adams, a legendary artist for DC Comics, passed away. Like that was really unfortunate. You know, he's been struggling for a while, and I think it was sepsis that got him, and that was horrible to hear. But bummer sauce. Definitely starting with the bummer, but definitely I did enjoy getting to make the thumbnail for this week's episode, looking at a bunch of his work and his art. And that Superman comic that's right there above Ryan's head is definitely my favorite piece that he's ever done, that I had the privilege to actually pick up last year at the little convention we had here in town. But yeah, that was horrible. What is going on, Pops? And yeah, me and Pops actually went to a convention in 2013 when we had the opportunity to meet Neil Adams. That was like my dad's, that was his goal, to get a chance to meet Neil and get him to sign some stuff. And I've bought for the past few Father's Days and stuff, I bought my dad stuff from the Neil Adams shop and get him to sign it to my dad. He's a big fan. Definitely a bigger fan than I am, but I definitely love his stuff as well. But he was an awesome artist. He was huge with the creators' rights and everything. He was had a huge hand in Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman, getting compensated for their work for creating Superman. That was there's this awesome documentary out there that goes in detail on it about how when Neil first got to DC, one of the first things he did was look around and wonder where Joe and where Jerry and Joe were, and he asked around and heard what happened and started battling the powers that be to get creators' rights rocking and rolling. And hugely important to his efforts in that, they were able to sit at the premiere of Superman the movie and smile and enjoy it with the rest of everyone else, and know that they were getting credited like they were supposed to. So he's somebody that won't soon be forgotten. 27 books.
Didn't he do the artwork on the also legendary Green Arrow? Was it Green Arrow and Green Lantern run?
Yeah.
The one where they had to mismatch powers in order to make it work, but
it's
one of those like highly regarded runs.
Mm-hmm. He's the one that brought Batman back from the camp. They did the Green Arrow, Green Lantern, where they have like introduced like the story with Roy on drugs and bringing in John Stewart, and they were tackling all kinds of like the major issues at the time. They were very ahead of their time. He's the one that gave Batman chest hair. I'm not saying that jokingly. I mean, it sounds kind of corny saying it now, but back then, going to that extra step of realism and stuff like that wasn't happening in comics. What is going on, Brother John's Comics is up in the building. Yeah, that's horrible. It says it causes failures of your internal organs. We see those custom emojis from the channel members. I always enjoy seeing those. Digger Jim is up in the building. What is happening? Mr. Alan Rue just showed up. Hello, all. Just 2 books left from this week. Last Ronin and Joker. I've bailed on Joker, but Last Ronin did come out. I don't even think I have that here in my stat.
Honestly, I kind of bailed on both of those.
It finished strong, like for what it is, like it's definitely it's a Turtles book, but I think it serves its purpose. 2815 is in the building. What's up, Paul?
I definitely read the first 2. I don't know if I ever got around to the third one, but the 4th and 5th one are kind of lost on me, so I might try to read all those, sit down and read it all at once and just kind of get it, but I really didn't care for it that much after that first issue.
Dude, at this point, I'm wondering where my copy even is. Oh, God, I have more books.
How could you lose it? It's like 25 feet by like 16 feet or something.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I think that like I said, it served its purpose. It definitely was a TMNT book. It had a little bit of camp, a little bit of seriousness to it. It had what I felt was a entertaining fight at the end of it and everything. But we can get into it a little bit later if you want to. What is going on, Logic Blaster? We just made a vid and it's uploaded to my channel soon. Also, I'll be sure to check that out. Better than waiting on it for months. Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else happened this week. I did see where the director that was attached to do the Fantastic Four movie bailed on that. I don't know what reasons or why.
Oh, really?
It's the director who did the Spider-Man movies for Marvel. Batwoman got canceled at the CW. So did Legends Tomorrow. Both of those got canceled on the same day around the same time. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with what they have planned coming up. Superman and Lois returned this week. It's taken numerous weeks throughout this season. I think that it was like they announced at the beginning that there's going to be numerous little breaks instead of just a mid-season break. But that show just continues to be amazing, entertaining, fun, heartfelt. It's really good.
Yeah, I still need to check that out. I'm not surprised that they're starting to cancel some of these CW shows, though. It feels like since Arrow itself kind of wrapped, and which I mean, it had kind of worn itself out, I think, anyway. But with that and like Flash has kind of worn its wear out as well. It's I'm not surprised the rest of them are starting to get canned.
I'm surprised.
I feel like the Arrowverse thing has kind of run its course at this point.
Someone somewhere said something that made it hipsters get better. I don't know. That is why they're
on that, right?
Might be, who knows? What is going on? Master Panther's up in the building. Superman and Lois was fired. This entire episode took place on Bizarro World. That's been one of the primary focus characters of this season was Bizarro. And this show's done a good job about introducing very familiar characters and things, but doing them in a way that's unique to just this show. Like you know who they are, you recognize them, but you don't know what to expect necessarily from them. And Bizarro World was awesome. It was square, like you saw it from space and everything, and we followed each character on it. It was really good. Legends was on a long time. Yeah, it's been on, I think, since like 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like that series, turned out better than anybody really anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's been as of
recent,
recent, but I know for a while there was a lot of people's favorite Arrowverse show. So
I love
that's
the first
impressive.
season. I kind of fell off after that. Like I watched the first season, like each episode as it came out. It was really cool, but I don't know. It just became a lot to keep up with the CW stuff, and I'm kind of a little overboard with it. I want to watch it all in order, not episode 1 through whatever of each season. I want to, because they would come out and cross over with each other and stuff. So I want to watch this week's Flash, Arrow, and Legends, and I don't know. It was just too much. But Logic asked if you're excited for Doctor Strange. I definitely am. We've got our tickets. We're going Friday. I'm not overly excited. My predictions is it's going to be fun, much like the last Spider-Man movie. I think that it's going to be a lot of little things that just make the overall entertaining. I'm not expecting it to go too crazy on some kind of. I
didn't realize it was already here.
Yeah. The trailers are dropping. They're showing all kinds of stuff like Professor X's wheelchair. You're seeing a photon from WandaVision. Yeah, there's all kinds of spoilers out there, little leaked footages. It's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. I was kind of mad about what happened with Bizarro, but this episode turned me around. Yeah, I'm still mad about what happened with Bizarro. General Anderson, that dude's a snake, and the fact that he's sitting in, like, walking around with Bizarro's family and stuff, that was hard to think about after what he had done. I believe Justice League 75 did not disappoint. Absolutely not. And I'm looking forward to getting into that here in just a few minutes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and just run down the comics real quick that I got. Spoilers and leaked footage. Yeah, it's all over the place. If you don't care about having it spoiled and you're super curious, a simple Google search can get you right to it. The after credits information is out there, and I'm not going to spoil anything on here, whether you want to hear it or not. If you want to, you can go look it up yourself. Like I said, it's super easy to find. Just know that this movie is going in the same direction as the rest of the MCU. That's all I'm going to say about that. So it's going to be on brand. But while Alan Rue is here, big shout out to him. This was in my box at the Augusta Book Exchange that he dropped off for me. It was this awesome variant for Hulk 6, which it hasn't been my favorite series, but I still love the Hulk. And I think the Titan looks really cool. And this is probably the toughest cover that I saw for the number 6. I saw him share it and commented on it. And he actually had a copy for me waiting. I thought that was awesome. I don't know who did this cover. It looks like a Bjorn Barons almost to me. But he's in the chat. He can inform me. But big thank you for that, Alan. And I'm going to go through my pools real quick, Ryan. You can see what I got that you've read. We can figure out what we're going to break down from there. But Last Ronin wrapped up finally. And I've also got my Jang exclusive down here for that from Big Time Collectibles. I haven't opened yet. Jim Rugg's Hulk Grand Design Madness, which is the second half of that. I'm excited to read that. I haven't read it yet, knowing that it's just kind of flashback stuff. I'll get to it. Berserker number 8, which was actually pretty interesting. It got really, really weird, kind of odd, starting to deal with time travel and stuff at this point. Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2. Power Rangers Universe number 5, aka Frisbee. This is one that at this point I just pick him up and give him to Finn because he loves the matching covers. Punisher number 2, which was awesome. I really like what the series is doing. Death of the Justice League and the Justice League issue number 75. I got that acetate cover, and then I had to get that Dan Jurgens homage cover. That is just amazing. Keep that out. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Batman Beyond the White Knight issue number 2, also amazing. Detective Comics 1059, which I enjoyed a lot. Ryan wasn't so much there on it. We'll probably breeze past that one. Deep Target. It's finally over. This was the weirdest book I've read in a while.
Talk about things better than they deserve to be.
I can't explain what it is I like about this book, but man, it kept me and got my money for all 7 issues, and I don't regret it. Action Comics 1049, the War World saga continues, and we're now leading into the second or the next arc of it. It's not the second; it would technically be the third, I think. It's what is it? World Uprising is about to start with the next issue.
Yes.
I think that's what it's so.
It's like the 7th or 8th part of the War World saga.
Yeah,
I know
that's
that much.
strong. Dark Knights of Steel #6. That was another good installment to that series. Teen Titans Academy #14, the second to last issue of that. And then finally, I got Swamp Thing #12 of 16 from Rom V. And it's got that wicked. I had to pick up the Liam Sharp B cover. I don't do it often, but I saw that and I had to have it.
Yeah.
Absolutely had to have it. So that was my oversized pool for this week. Larger than normal. There's a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Yeah, Flash said he had to mute a couple of people and mute like 25 words. I guess he's talking about the spoilers.
Yeah.
What is going on? Hefe, how are you doing today?
Twitter, you can mute words so you don't see tweets that contain those words.
Well, then you'll know that they're there, right?
Well, I mean, you won't see them in your timeline.
And then every time you see it, you just know it's the F word.
No, it doesn't mute the word. It mutes the tweets.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, that's the thing I hate about when people complain about how toxic Twitter is. Like, they give you so many tools to control what even like appears in your front of your face. Like, to complain about something, you really got to like look for it, you know? Yeah, man. So there was so much good stuff. Did you read Newburn? I didn't see that in your.
I did not. I kind of dropped off Newburn.
Oh, what? Fire, dude. Fire. It was worth reading like 4 issues today.
I'll plan on catching back up. Only 2 issues behind.
Dude, this last issue, I think this is the first like multi-part story. And this one, like, oh man, the way it ends, like it's still kind of written in like a serialized version, but the outcome at the end, you like realize immediately like what the impact is going to be, you know, like I was like, what? So yeah, Newburn's good, man.
Do you care about spoilers, Ryan, for Doctor Strange?
I don't care. I'm sure I'll see it at some point.
Private. I'm sending in the private chat, as to not let everyone else know. So my picture keeps freezing up. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. I have an crappy internet today and yesterday. I even restarted the modem earlier.
Yeah, my internet has not been the quickest today as well.
Alan said Raza. Okay, Raza did that cover. He did fantastic. Reboots for Mask and GoBots. I thought that they were talking about for a while doing a show for Mask, that 80s cartoon. I read Power Rangers and Godzilla should have crushed them. Yeah, that was there was a little bit of problems I had with that because in the series, the Dragon Zord like completely decimates the Megazord. Like that is a far superior machine. And then in this, Godzilla decimates the Dragon Zord, and then the Megazord is able to stand up to him.
It was hand to hand. Did we ever see the Megazord go hand to hand with anything?
Yeah, they were like this.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot style.
Yeah, I will say the when they activated the Megazord, that was like one of the coolest drawn sequences I'd seen for the Megazord.
Yeah, the way it's in the background, like you see all the electricity, and then like it's there. Yeah,
it was really cool.
There's like so many like cool little elements going on in that book, but overall it just. And I've never been like huge on like Godzilla and King Kong and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not really in my wheelhouse. So for me, only half of it's like really interesting to me, I guess. But I don't know, like all the like UFO stuff and Planet X and all that. I have no clue what the deal is with all that. And I was like, okay,
they
cool.
were like present through like an entire decade of Godzilla movies, trying to take over Earth and stuff.
The other thing, like, do you know how many issues that is? I have not looked into it, but there is no way it runs for that long. Like, how can this possibly go much for? I'm surprised they had 2 issues worth of content. This should have been like an oversized one shot.
And it goes really fast as well. I mean, you already know the formula. It's not Godzilla versus Power Rangers. It's Godzilla meets
Yeah.
Power Rangers versus somebody else.
Yeah, it's like the classic like mistaken identity. We're gonna like be enemies. Oh wait, we're actually on the same side of this issue. All right, cool. Let's team up, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
they got there at the end of this issue. Obviously, like this issue ends with them having to face off with multiple monsters, Godzilla villains as well as Power Ranger villains. And like, oh no, we're not at power. What are we gonna do? Well, obviously
Godzilla's about to show up at the beginning of the next one and save him. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fun. I enjoy it. Not the gerbil one though. I would be down for the gerbil one. Lemmy Winks.
Right. So yeah, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin #2. The first one was cool because it was just all like, fan service. The second one they tried to like really turn it into something serious. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll probably keep reading it. Why not? But
Teen Titans Academy 14. This is a quick review. There wasn't much going on in this one. Just from Future State, how those two characters were bonded together to save the life of each of them. We didn't know why. We saw why now. They were both critically damaged in the Titans Tower collapsing when Red X destroyed it, and we have a team going to hell. They are going after. I don't remember what they were doing, man. It's been a while since I read it, but they go to hell and they run into Dane, Nevermore, as well as that young Black Adam that was guarding the Rock of Eternity and stuff. So I don't know what they're going to do with this because we got one more issue left, and we have all these premonitions of the Riders of the Apocalypse and this great evil, and Dane fulfilling this prophecy that he was born to do that he doesn't want to do, and we only got one issue left. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to pan out. Or if it'll even pan out, if they're gonna cut it off, or what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody last night where I was like, basically he was like, yeah, I read it and like it was okay, but like I don't even remember like how these characters got together, Cyborg and Beast Boy, and I'm like, yeah, I remember the whole thing fell down on them and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, you know what, like as I was talking about, I was like, like I've enjoyed like maybe 2/3 of that series. And so I'm like, there's a lot of series that I've liked every issue of, and I'm behind on. Like, I'm not going to waste my time trying to catch up from like issue 11 or 12 or wherever I fell off of that one. Like, whatever. Well, I'll just let it run its course and not even bother with it. I'm not interested enough.
The main takeaway from this issue was you had like, God, I forget his name, the blue dude who can like blow up and be round, and Kid Flash. He graduated to, I think it was 2B. Because there's two.
One that like makes a tube and puts the fire out at that house.
That guy, the other one, the blue one. Because that guy was the one who made the weird shaped body, almost like Mr. Fantastic, and it was drawn very odd.
Well, I mean, that whole thing was dumb because they're like, his power is he can turn into a tube, and then like whenever he actually finally did it, it was like, no, he's like Mr. Fantastic, like he could stretch into anything. Like that's so stupid that like they say he can just turn into a tube, like. That seems like a ridiculous limitation.
I'm at the point where I assume that this is going to cut off and the story is just going to, it has to pick up, like elements from the series are going to have to pick up in other things. And like everything to me, just by the nature of like the little momentum.
I'm sure it'll exist historically, but
something, I don't know, like Nightwing and Red X, like there's a whole vendetta, like the actual Red X, not the one that was into Teen Titans Academy, the one that killed him, responsible for taking down the tower, like, and Nightwing ran off to go do something about it, and they have one issue left. They got to do something. I don't know. I'm kind of I'm not mad at where it's at. I'm just curious how are they going to do it next? What are they going to do?
Yeah,
I do think that it needs a little breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. It's just, I don't know. We done tried out all these new characters and everything, and there's some of them that I enjoy a lot, some of them that I couldn't care less if I never see again. There's just too many for the book to really feel focused on anything right now.
Yeah.
That's why I was enjoying when it was crossing over with other stuff. It was kind of had a tighter focus at that point.
Yeah, I think it was a good concept. I don't think it was perfectly executed, Like I said, it was probably enjoyed like 2/3 of it, but there was some issues in there where I was like, I just really don't care about this issue at all.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely fair. I know you read Dark Knights of Steel #6. What did you think of that one?
fire, dude. Like this series, every single issue, you know, and I mean, I'm sure you remember, but like I read like 4 issues of it, like all back to back today, and it's like, other than the Batman origin story issue, like I mean, every issue just has like some mind-boggling cliffhanger to it, you know. Whenever you're just like,
and big
Tom
reveals.
Taylor has to be running out of like cliffhangers, right? And then like every issue you get something just like incredible to leave you pulled back for the next one.
And he keeps pulling out reveals left and right. Like in this one, you know, this is the fallout from the death of Black Lightning and his kingdoms in disarray and everything. And over at the House of El, they're trying to come to terms with the information that Supergirl is the one that killed him, and she's denying it. And Wonder Woman wants to believe her, kind of thing. We find out that Tim Drake, one of Batman's Robins, has been embedded in the House of Thunders, and they've known the whole time. And Constantine's been giving him disinformation to send back to the L's, and Constantine basically lets him know, I know who you are. And he's like immediately gets scared for his life, and Constantine basically just throws him out. And then he goes and he communes with the demon, with Etrigan. So he's looking for help. He's trying to kind of get his bearings and see what they're going to do about this whole dilemma. And we mentioned it before, and you and I talked about it earlier today. I think that there's Martians at play. You know, I don't think necessarily. I don't think Supergirl killed him and then is just lying and just hanging out on Front Street like that. It'd be too easy for her to get caught out on it. So I'm almost thinking Martian Manhunter or somebody.
I mean, I was into the idea of Supergirl killing Jefferson's son, and I was like, I was like, okay, that makes sense, you know. But then the Metal Men thing, I was like, man, that was like really intense and
unnecessarily brutal.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of weird. And then whenever Diana shows up, there's just something about, and again, this like goes into like that incredible artwork and great writing where I'm like, I kind of believe Diana, you know, like the level of like drive she has to clear, what's her name, Zala's name. Like, I don't know, like there's something about that relationship that just like really like has me convinced that there's Martians or shapeshifters of some sort at play here that also have the power to imitate the L's, you know. And then all the stuff that went down with Superman and Batman, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely out of character. Like, there's somebody impersonating Superman and I guess Supergirl. I don't know what her exact name is, but you know, like these two, I feel like are being impersonated and played. I'm not completely convinced that Zara didn't kill Jefferson's son. Like I could still see that being a possibility, but pretty much everything else, like the killing the Metal Men and going back to Jefferson's ship and killing him, I could see that being a shapeshifter.
It makes me wonder why they would leave Constantine, you know, when she went back to the ship and slaughtered Jefferson, like in the rest of the ship.
Yeah. I also think that was Superman at the end that went to Amazonia. But I don't think that was Superman that beat up Batman and all that. Which well played, right? Like, you know, if men step on Amazonia, you know, and he's like,
that was awesome. I had here. Yeah. He's like, I haven't. He's just hovering over the ground. Yeah, the level that kind of flex on him too, like how they're all on guard and they're like on top of him. He's just not even flinching. He's just he come to say his piece and he's gonna say it.
I really, you know, I was kind of mixed about Harley Quinn being there in the beginning, but I really grown to like her. Like she has a really great sense of like very balanced comedy. You know, it's not like super far like MCU comedy, but it still like brings some brevity to things. You know, and whenever Tim goes back and he's got to confront the L's, you know, and she's just like, oh yeah, if you think about it, like if you just forget that they're from another planet and they can fly and they're super strong and they could just look at you and kill you with lasers from their eyes and they could freeze you to death, like they're pretty much just normal people.
Yeah.
And then he talks to them and they're like, they basically take in the information. He goes to leave and you know, she's like, see, that wasn't so bad. That went pretty well. And he's like, other than the part where I'm pretty sure I'm a key factor in 3 different kingdoms going to war. She's like, oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he pretty much like screwed the pooch on that one. So
Let's go to talk about. We're only halfway through this. It's 12 issues. This is the halfway point right here. And as far as I know, it's still on track to come out as scheduled. I haven't heard of any kind of.
the hardcover for the first 6 issues drops on September 20th. So yeah, but I mean, fire, dude. Like, I love the artwork in it. I love like the presentation of it all. So like a hardcover version of that might be worth picking up. It's definitely on my Christmas list. So if somebody out there loves me.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about another like borderline like epic? Actually, it probably is an epic, but it's got a very old style feel. That's another good one. We can talk about that too.
Was that the one you were thinking?
No.
Which one were you thinking?
Action Comics, man. Yes.
Fire. Super fire.
That's like a modern epic, you know. I love the artwork in that too. It looks so like, looks like illustrated on parchment or something, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's straight up pencils. See if I get some of this artwork on here.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, Superman and OMAC going at it in this issue. That was wicked. So the rebellion is officially kicked off. Like, Clark is on board. They're finally pushing back against Mongol and his hordes, and they're winning these little skirmishes and stuff.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I love all the stuff that Midnighter was doing in the issue before this to kind of like set the stage for where we're at, you know. And then Superman like shows up, and we're dealing with like I'm really interested in what's going on with Lois and Jonathan as well, you know, because I forget her name, but the Philosian they have there in the tube. Oh, so good. And the Genesis stuff, like, that's going to be really interesting because they're talking about it. Oh, with John Henry Irons, you know, like, that's a really cool pull. So like, what's going to happen with all that? Because it seems to be connected to everything that's happening on War World, which makes that like a whole interesting angle to what's already happening over there, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They could hear Clark talking through it. So like they've got a connection here with this whole Genesis energy. This is a cool issue, but more importantly than the issue, because this one's kind of straightforward, just with the revolution kind of starting and everything. And it was cool seeing, we knew that OMAC was kind of getting tinkered with and brainwashed because of what happened to a character that OMAC cared about. So Clark fighting with OMAC was just like trying to talk his way through the fight. You know, you kind of see that, how, again, a great example how Philip Kennedy Johnson really understands this character and writes him to a T. Like, he's not sacrificing anything for great storytelling. You're getting the hard-hitting action. You're getting that true Superman who's trying to find another way other than his fist to pull this off while he's swinging his fist at that. But I'm curious, now that you're caught up, what did you think of – it was either the last issue or the one before where it focused on Midnighter trolling through World.
I mean, that issue is like amazing, you know, because it sets the stage for everything that happened in this one, you know. And I just love the way that like Midnighter goes about everything. Like, there's this dark comedy element to it all, you know, like just like, because he's like not Superman, you know, but he shows up with like the red cloak and stuff, and so they like assume he is. And he's just like, no, like, he's not even this cool. Like, you don't understand.
If Superman have just ripped that guy's eyes out through the back of his head, I don't think so. Like, don't hold me to those standards. Like, he was offended by it. Like, he doesn't even want to be considered Superman. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
And I love, like, you know, whenever he like he cuts the chains, you know, and the chick's like, oh no, my chains and stuff, and he's like, I really don't give a crap about your trophies. Like, what I want to see is what you can do without those, you know? And I was like, man, like, he also has like these hard hitting lines that, you know, really just like drill home that like, this is what it's really all about, you know? And like, forget your trophies. Like, this is a war and you got to get up and fight, you know? Like, what they say, it's better to be a warrior on a farm than to be a farmer in a war. And I feel like that's kind of what Midnighter brought to everything, was like, you can't just be a pacifist at this point. Like, you either have to fight for something or die for nothing, you know?
Mhm.
And so I thought like he had some really hard hitting moments, and his mission to free Apollo as well. But then like you also get like these great moments where like the Velocians, they're all like trying to like live up to the image that Superman is, and so like they're fighting people, but they're also pulling their punches because they're like, what would Superman do? And then you just like see these sound effects coming from off panel where it's just like crack, pop, snap, and then like the next panel you just see Midnighter like throw a guy's head at him and stuff. And it's like, oh my god, what is going on here? But yeah, it was just amazing to see Midnighter like start this rebellion and really build it into something where like Superman could kind of come in right at the end of that issue and establish like this is the next steps, and like he's going to kind of take on this rebellion and this uprising and lead the charge, And so I think Midnighter became much more important to this whole story than I really initially expected.
Yeah, he's single-handedly, unintentionally responsible for this revolution happening. Because we've seen Clark in the holding cells, we've seen him fighting, and everyone thinks he's stupid, like he's not living up to anything that any of these rumors they heard, like his ideologies and the way that he pictures like this working out isn't working for them. They're not hearing it, they're just not connecting, and it's because the difference with him and Midnighter is Midnighter, he speaks Clark's values, but he also speaks their language in his actions. He's sitting there slaughtering these people. He's like, they're looking up to him like, oh, this dude, if he wanted these chains, he could have these chains. He doesn't value these chains, but he's a great warrior. And, I just thought it was awesome because it takes you back to toward the beginning of this when he just came by in passing. He's like, I'm about to go shut down the core of this planet. Clark's like, no, you'll kill everyone. He's like, you're not coming? He's like, no, don't do that. Like, I'm going to go do it. And he just walks off. And then we
he's just not hearing it.
The struggle, like how he's just walking through everything. And he does have all these really cool moments, these moments of bravado, and just where like there's no situation that he's scared of. He's just got it in the bag no matter what the danger level is. And I don't know, he's just a cool character, man. I think he's awesome. He's a great addition. He's probably the only addition to the team that Clark took that it matters at this point.
Right.
And then his whole thing is he's just going to get Apollo.
Omac sold him out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he's just going to get Apollo. That's his goal. Like, I'm getting Apollo and we're getting out of here.
Yep.
Like,
I also love the way that that they kind of like set up and reiterated Mongol's missteps here. Like they kind of gave him a misstep in order to like make it feasible that he can be defeated at this point, because they brought back in the beginning, kind of the pre-title stuff. They show what happened after he walked out of that arena whenever him and Clark fought. And Chaytil's like, kill him. Like, you need to kill him before like this becomes a bigger issue. And he's like, no, like, listen to how much they love him. Like, should I make him a martyr? And he's like, like, I'm not going to kill him now. And then whenever he shows up at the end, like, I should have killed you then. Like Chaytil might have been right about something.
Now, do you remember when this all kicked off? This all started with the Mongol who is sitting on a throne and a mysterious person who was cloaked, who we still haven't got the reveal of them. Like, at this point, it's been like a year. This started with a mysterious character
10 issues or so,
and throwing in the severed heads of all of his children. And he thanked him for it because that's when they added the mythos to like Mongol was a title, and the way that you become Mongol is by usurping the one before you. You have to be bigger and badder. That way, it's like it's ever evolving to a stronger character. Like, so in the future, every time you see Mongol, it's a bigger threat than the last time you saw Mongol, which I think is awesome because that solves the classic villain trope. Like once you beat him once, it just takes the piss out of him, but not with this new Mongol setup. But I'm so curious who that could even potentially be. I don't even have a guess, like there's nothing.
Yeah, I really don't know, but that scene was unforgettable because he comes in, he's like, here's the heads of all your dead children. He's like, thank you.
Yeah, thank
like
you.
Now I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, one more thing to not worry about. I just looked in the back of that book and it's called War World Revolution is the next setup. That's what we've got coming. But yeah, I've been absolutely loving it. The artwork is
it's so good. Yeah, I want a hardcover collection of this because, like, again, it just has like that epic feel to it. Like it should be on a shelf right next to like Homer or something.
It's really good. Another one, like you mentioned, that is just phenomenal. Like this one took off for
Oh,
me.
man.
This series, like it hit another stride that I didn't even know it had in it. Like, and this was the big setup. So that last issue was the first issue of the second arc, and this is where they laid out our story for this arc. And it was something completely fresh, but completely playing true to the whole Swamp Thing lore and mythos.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you take off. I'm talking to my wife for a second.
Yeah, so this one we met Sprout. Well, I think we had already met her in the last issue, but we got more definition on her. This is Sprout. She made a Jericho's Rose. He left that behind, and we see. I believe this is the guy from the beginning. The idea from the desert that he had fought way back in the beginning of everything. He is becoming bigger and badder than ever before. And so now we see him in Detroit, and like now, like machines and stuff are taking over, which is where you get the subtitle of this issue, Industrial Horror, because they go and like, this guy just like gets swallowed by like all these machines and android robot looking things and stuff. And here you have another idea. So, it was a really cool issue. It felt like more setup to like what this I guess like what this second part of the run is going to be, this second season. But I really enjoyed it. It just, every little detail is there. It's always done right. We got to see some more of Levi and his brother playing when they were kids and stuff. So it was an impressive issue, and I think it really sets up everything moving forward from here. So I'm excited to see where season 2 is going to take us, because the first season was incredible, and so far this one's been awesome as well.
I'm back.
I think I mostly rambled, but yeah, there was a lot going on in this issue. So
yeah, we had Levi's girlfriend with Holland's child Tefe going into the green to go retrieve Levi and trying to find a way to tether him back to his consciousness here on Earth and in the green, and thus making another connection, really just solidifying him. Like this, that's what's one of the best things about this series is we've been introduced to a brand new Swamp Thing in Levi, and through this whole like first story arc and this one, it's not just like the story at hand. It's him. It's his origin, really. It's him getting into like filling the shoes of being Swamp Thing and learning what that's all about. And after that first big skirmish, that was very smart of Ron B, I thought, to immediately he's lost in the green. Like after having to go that hard and to that extreme as an avatar, his mind is lost in the green. Like he doesn't know what he's doing anymore. And the only part of his humanity that he had left was a single memory that he was protecting and holding on to. That was the only thing that was still latched. And Tefe had to really kind of like activate that memory and make it more apparent to him, like this is actually you like come back to this, protect this. And like she had to grow that memory to get him to snap back out of it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, the whole like Jericho's Rose thing was really cool.
Yes. And you get into what got introduced, the new element, the new branch of the Parliament, really, with the whole industry thing. Like where we thought, like we got introduced to the Wanderer in the first issue of this series, and we thought that it was like an avatar of the desert. Well, it turns out that it's not. Like Sutherland Industries has Jason Woodrue there doing mad scientist surgery, playing with the Wanderer and a person, and they put it together and brought it back to life into the new entity that you see here, and it starts dialoguing and talking about its birth and its inception, and how it's literally the avatar of industry, which I thought, dude, that's freaking smart, because at this point, like especially when you talk about how like Levi came to be with like the decimation of his homelands and everything because of industry, it's already an overview of this story, as well as like the reality of how much industry has taken over the planet, how it's a part of the planet. You see it everywhere. So I thought that was really cool and kind of always right in front of us.
It's kind of interesting too, because remember at the beginning there, Sprout is like talking about how like, we think of like humans as like kind of destroying the planet, but like they're magnificent creatures of their own, and like that finding that balance of like human versus nature. And then like it all gets flipped in the second half of the book once you meet the industrial avatar and like all the stuff that's going on there, and you realize like, oh, our human inventions are destroying the planet and coming back to even kill us as humans, like here we are like dealing with the balance between humanity and nature, and then all of a sudden now like our own creations are being piled on top of all that. And it's like this really interesting multi-layered story of all that.
It really is. And Jack, what's his name? Jack Hawksmoor from Stormwatch. That Stormwatch led into the Authority, and he was on the team with Midnighter and Apollo during Warren Ellis's run that I've been reading the trades of. But he speaks to cities. He gets his strength from the life of the cities around him, and he's been called to Detroit, which is historically an industrious city that's gone defunct, and that's where it looks like this new avatar is really planting his roots. Is something big is going on there, and the city's crying out to Jack. And this is the second issue. We got teased with him as a cliffhanger in the last issue, and we see him being called to the city and getting attacked by the city, and realizing that something's off there. So I thought that's pretty cool because we had Batman pop up for one issue. We had the Suicide Squad pop up. Somebody else popped up in this series. Constantine popped up, and now we have Jack Hawksmoor popping up. So it's pretty cool that we're getting. I always like when you get like guest characters, where it doesn't like overshadow your story or anything. But it's always fun. And then they introduced us to Did you talk about the brand new character at the end?
No.
Trinity.
I don't think so. Oh no, yeah, I forgot about Trinity.
It's like a whole nother avatar of like nuclear fallout, of radiation, like the living embodiment of the nuclear footprint that we have on the planet, basically.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like going back to like there was nature, and then there were humans, and then humans and created this industrial complex, and then they created like the ultimate destruction with nuclear bombs and there's just like this whole cycle of like, how do we balance all of these things, and how have we led to our own downfall? But at the same time, like all of these things are now living and breathing through the avatars. And I don't know, like Ron V is just like on a whole nother level with some of this stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he really I've never read Scott Snyder's run, but I know there's been several like smaller runs here and there since Alan Moore's stuff that people are like, yeah, it's just like not that good. They don't really understand Swamp Thing. I feel like this is going to be an iconic run. Like Ron V really understands what he's doing with Swamp Thing,
Well, everything should have its own genre, like a character like Swamp Thing needs to, like, you don't have to be Alan Moore, but you have to at least be a writer that is capable of or attempt to write something like deep with multi-layered stuff, because Alan Moore left such an impact on the character. That's what people expect out of a Swamp Thing. Surface level, just action Swamp Thing. It's not what you want to see. Then kind of like the fault with the current Hulk series. The Hulk, everyone thinks, like, if you don't read or follow Hulk, you think, oh, Hulk, I just want to see him break stuff. No, that's really not. Like he's a doctor. He has
the Hulk himself is a payoff moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's
like there has to be a lot of setup that goes into those moments when he shows up. Like they're paying off everything that's come before it.
So there's certain books that you're just perfectly fine with it being like popcorn cinema kind of stuff, fast food, whatever. But Swamp Thing's not one of them. I don't pick up an issue thinking, let me just speed through this real quick. No,
I spend time with it, man.
Mm-hmm. One book that you can speed through and it's fun to speed through is Deep Target. I do. I love this series. Man. This was fun. It just turned into a bad guys playing with a time machine, trying to alter history, and they made some boo-boos, and it got fixed. That's all there was to it. But it was fun. The banter and dialogue between Aquaman and Green Arrow was fantastic. There was a bunch of action, very whimsical, but they're dealing with time travel, so there's always some fun stuff to like kind of play with different concepts, because people always, time travel is just theoretical right now, so different people have different concepts for how they would like to see it or write it, so it's always enjoyable. I like that kind of stuff.
The Shadow of the Bat. I can't keep up with high numbers like that.
What numbers start? The Shadow of the Bat are 12. I can't remember. It's
It
10
would have been
something.
like 1040s or something like that.
And they turned it into like that weekly thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was like 1042 or something, like 1042 to 1048 or something like that. But it only took like a month, like 2 months or something for it all to come out because it was coming out weekly or bi-weekly or whatever.
Which kind of I don't know why this kind of stuff bums me out, but it outpaced Action Comics. Like Action Comics should have a higher numbering than Detective Comics,
Yeah.
but it outpaced it. It
I'm
was
I'm glad that they're like taking their time with Action Comics though, because Philip Kennedy Johnson's doing some amazing things there, and I don't think rushing that would be fair to what he's doing at all.
It all started with Batman Annual this year. I do remember that. That was like the little lead in to it with the Arkham Tower Rising thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But speaking of Detective Comics, we had the start of a new story arc with this. We're out of the shadows of the Bat, and then Detective Comics 1059. So 1058 minus 12. So that would have been the start of it. But it looks like the Riddler. To me, it does not look like the Riddler has come out of his kind of silence and started airing some stuff, throwing some riddles out there. And it looks like some people that are associated with the criminal justice system are catching riddles and then catching their demise, and Batman is unable to get ahead of it in this. And this is the first issue. I enjoy this a lot, like a whole lot, because we're given this riddle in the very beginning that when is a criminal not a criminal? That's when the story kicks off. And then we find ourselves in courtrooms and stuff with hits being taken out on people. And at first glance, you assume that it's the Riddler, but then you realize that it doesn't seem like it is. It seems like he's just kind of doing commentary on whatever's happening. Like he is in the know, but nobody else is. And riddles are left at these attacks, which are kind of surface level riddles that you can solve yourself as the reader. But then at the end, they kind of preface again, when is a criminal not a criminal? So being that these are like judges getting attacked and the Riddler, who to me doesn't seem like the Riddler. He's drawn weird, like with a Rob Stack mustache and a beard. And so I guess a criminal is not a criminal when he's falsely accused or when he's an impersonator. You know what I mean? So that's the vibe I'm getting. Maybe somebody's taking revenge on the justice system for taking them when they were innocent, because it looked like you had a judge just baptizing people. And I'm thinking that maybe this isn't even the Riddler. This is somebody who's taking part in that scheme. There we go. Pops with a W.
I thought it was like 42. So yeah, I was off. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like it wasn't bad by any means, but whenever I look at how many books I'm reading, it just didn't entice me enough to be like, oh yeah, like I'm super interested in this.
What did you think of the art on it though? Because Ivan Reis was on he was on some of it on the Batman side of it. I love his interior, man.
Yeah, I mean the artwork was fine. Nothing about it like really stood out to me as like particularly amazing. I thought the way like you were describing the Riddler, like I've never known him to have like facial hair and stuff like that. So like the red goatee mustache thing was a little bit strange, but pretty easy to move past. And I don't know, the story was fine, but like it just really didn't like hook me in. And I was like, yeah, like I don't know, I'm kind of over like Batman and detective.
General, just Batman in general.
Yeah, I mean, there's still like so many cool things. Like, why don't we go ahead and talk about Batman Beyond the White Knight?
Okay, let's do that since it's in my hand.
Yeah. I mean, this was great. I'm enjoying a lot of like non-continuity Batman stuff right now.
Oh, yeah, this was fire. Quick rundown of this. We get a little bit of context to Terry. We get a little bit of flashbacks. You see that his father was killed and his father was working for the multi-billionaire that's running Gotham at this point. And he's the one that kind of got Terry in those moments and aimed Terry to go get the suit. So obviously this billionaire is using Terry as his do boy because he probably wants the suit. We also find out that Bruce Wayne's brain is not broken and he's not having hallucinations of the Joker, but he has nanotechnology put in his head by the Joker back in Volume 1, it seems like, where he's actually has Joker's AI stuck in his head. So it's like the worst Alfred in the world for him. It's kind of dynamic.
Yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed that. I really liked Barbara.
Yeah, her
I
and
thought
Dick
she
Grayson's
was,
dynamic.
yeah, like their banter back and forth, like she was so spot on. Like she's like,
They
you know, where
Dick
she's talking about
Grayson.
like the metahumans no longer have control of the city, but something much worse does, you know.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was nice to get like more Terry McGinnis stuff and kind of like make sense of what's going on with him and seeing like from his perspective, you know, from his perspective, like it kind of makes sense everything that's going on his side, you know.
And we got a little
Um,
Bruce Wayne Dick Grayson fight, and
yeah.
Babs even trash talked him about that. Bruce is sitting there in just like a prison outfit still, and takes out Dick Grayson in his GTO gear with all of his gadgets and everything. And when Barbara and Dick was arguing, Dick made about like, look what we've done though, like because he kind of him and his job and his pursuit kind of pushed her out of hers, and he was talking about all the good he did, and she said, "Yeah, all the good you did, and all the gear you have, you still got beat up by a senior citizen and street clothes."
Yeah. Which I mean, they also kind of explained that like he has sort of an advantage. That is an advantage for him because he doesn't show up on like a lot of the modern technology because he's just like in regular clothes and he gets like the plastic grappling gun and all that kind of stuff, you know. So like they can't see him. He reveals a new suit for us, so that was pretty cool to see a kind of an in between stage of like the regular Batman suit and the Batman Beyond suit. Like I'm kind of excited to see this in action. And we got that cool reveal at the end too. Like that was a sweet little mic drop to bring you back for the next one.
What was at the end? What in the suit?
No. Remember, he's like looking at the suit and stuff, and then Harley Quinn comes down the stairs, and she's like, "You're not just bats. You're my husband."
And Joker's like,
"What?" Yeah. Jack's like, "Wait, what? Did I miss something?" So I'm excited to find out more about this world. Like, there's a lot of like moving parts, you know. Did you read?
Years. Well, you're welcome, TJ. You're welcome.
Did you read the little note at the end of it?
I avoid the end of this book like the plague. For those that don't know, typically, right when you finish the book, if you mess up and look to the right side of the page, you get spoilers for the next issue. They put black and white pencils for the next issue in the back of each of these issues, and they've been doing that, and I can't stand that they do it. Like, put the black and whites of the issue I just read in this issue, not next week's, not out of context. And it's not just one page; it's like 5-6 pages they give you. Like,
and they also they put in there like you know, like clean pages as well. Like some of them have like titles and stuff, and then they'll also put in the clean version without it all. But I just like moved past all those. But what's the guy? Sean Murphy. Sean Gordon Murphy. You know, he has like a little letter there at the end. He was talking about like, I think it's like a Q&A thing, and somebody asked him like, you know, about the whole like Robin thing, about having Jason Todd be the first Robin, and he wrote like a pretty cool like piece about that, where like basically it was a mistake. Like he always just like thought of the Robins as the Robins, you know, never really thought about their order. And so I guess in the first series or something, he had basically written out like this whole like book where as if like Jason Todd was the first Robin, and they were like, "Yo, like that's not right." And he was like, and he's like, in that letter, he says like basically he could have erased like one line of dialogue and basically fixed that whole thing. And he was like, why don't we run with it and see what happens? And so like now here we are in like the Batman Beyond series, and you know, like he's kind of made that all work for him. And I'm like, yeah, I like it. I think it's cool that Jason Todd was the first one.
Yeah, I definitely think it's cool. Hashtag my Robin. Team Jason all day. All right, did you read Punisher too? Or are you even following Punisher? Man, I would.
No, I haven't read any of it.
This is just the second issue that came out this week, and if you know, I don't recommend Marvel often. I have nothing at all against the characters of Marvel. I just don't find them being written in a way that really draws me in these days. But the new Ghost Rider series, I highly, highly recommend it. And this new Punisher series, I highly, highly recommend it. We've got Frank Castle has been brought in by the Hand, the little clan of assassins. And they we got in the last issue, the whole kicker was that his wife Maria was alive, and it looks like they have some form of medicine. It's leading us to believe that they have some form of medicine that's keeping her alive and bringing her memories back. So they've got him because they're able to give him her, and they see him as the ultimate killer that's ever been on the world, on the face of the earth. So that's why they want him to lead them. They want to bring back this golden age of the clan when they were actually something. You know, they feel like they've fallen far from where they're supposed to be. And this specific lady who kind of put this all together has killed and fought her way to get to where she is, to be like the one that has the final say so to bring in Frank. And they add in a level of mysticism to it in this issue where there's a scene when Frank is speaking to somebody and his eyes glow red and he sees them and knows things about them he shouldn't know. And it looks like that the great deity of death that they worship is actually slowly becoming its avatar or some way. Like he's becoming it or becoming one with it or something. We don't have all the details, but Frank now has a level of mysticism in this book that's being attached to him, which is good because the people that are out for him are this army of dudes in suits wearing Trojan helmets like the God of War. And we find out in this issue that they are being led by literally Ares, Marvel Comics Ares, the God of War, who has it out for Punisher. So we just got introduced to a literal god, and we now have Frank Castle getting imbued with the powers of a god. So we're about to have a god battle, but which it might sound crazy on the surface, but in Frank's history, he's literally been Frankenstein, you know, where Wolverine's son killed him and cut him to pieces. He got put back together as Frankencastle. He's been the cosmic Ghost Rider, and now he's going to be, you know, he's a character that gets used around a lot like that, but it didn't feel out of place. It was actually exciting. The level of violence in this is all there, but it has all these subtle moments of quiet, just in where you can really feel the emotion and the baggage that he's carrying. And I don't know, it's good. The art is phenomenal. It's like painted artwork in there too. Highly, highly recommend. Super violent. I think that was a couple years ago when they attempted to call him Drake, but Drake is a duck, so they backed off of it. It is. I highly, highly recommend this Punisher series. You know, though, like I'm not even going to get into like the chest thing. Like people can go complain somewhere else about that. This story, he is the leader of the Hand. He has a proper symbol on it for that. You see both symbols in the book. It isn't. They didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So just like everyone who didn't lose their minds over that, those people were right. But yeah. And they even get into it. The opening of this is young Frank Castle getting spoken to by whether it be a social worker or somebody at DFAC, a principal, somebody, I can't remember, but they're a little bit of dialogue talking about how you can't just beat up somebody because you saw him bullying other people. That little kid probably won't grow up to be able to have children after what you did to him. And you're seeing Frank's journals and like his little notepad from when he's a kid. He's like 12 years old, drawing the skulls, drawing himself killing people and stuff, and all like where he was a disturbed kid and like going through like, it's like, I can't tell him how I did this. And as a 12-year-old kid, I can't tell him about the man that I killed. And so he was savage from a young age, you know, like they're leaning into it. It's
nice.
Berserker was weird. Very weird. The last issue, they put him in a box in the desert underground so that he could release some energy and show a power that he has, and he did it, and he like a giant lightning bolt explosion, and he literally thrust himself through time to his own creation, and no explanation really, just showing us that concept. It was wild.
Sounds like I do not regret dropping off that series after the first issue.
Well, you dropped off of it at the first preview. Did you actually read the first issue?
Yeah, I read the first issue.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just like run, and then like stop and slow down, and
don't hit me.
The pacing was so off.
I'm going 0 dark 30 until Doctor Strange. It's not that big of a deal, Flo. I've heard there's definitely spoilers and stuff going on. I haven't found any of them on accident. I went and looked. I had this movie spoiled for me. Me and Nick found this information like over a year ago at this point. We pretty much found the script, and it's turned out to be that it was accurate what we found, which it hasn't taken away at all for me. But
yeah, I mean, somehow I have engineered the algorithm like it just like doesn't even show me anything related to most of this stuff. Like it doesn't show me movie stuff. It doesn't like show me any like trailers or anything. So I'm not too worried about it.
Will probably be just average. I'm expecting a Spider-Man Far From Home level film where it's just going to be tons of fan service, which it'll be fun. Like I'm hoping just for it to be fun. I'm not expecting to. I mean, it feels like it's just going to be a correction movie. You know, there's a lot of events from Breaking the Multiverse and Far From Home, and obviously Wanda's in the movie, so you have to deal with her and everything. And I think that it's just the mess that exists. It's just going to be cleaning up the mess that exists. I don't expect there to be like this overwhelming, moving the needle too far forward kind of thing. But I think it's going to be a kind of like how we got the 3 different Spider-Man, you know, and they just played with that a lot. We're playing with the multiverse, so they're going to be playing with that in this, you know, like different variations of different characters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because I really enjoyed the first one for the visuals alone. I thought that was just an uber treat. Like it was so fun. So I don't know. I think it's a fun brand, the Doctor Strange.
I love that first Doctor Strange movie, and I think they've kind of done the character a disservice by waiting this long, but they've done it to other characters, so why not him, you know? But yeah, I'm excited to see it just because he's a really cool character, and like you said, like the visuals are pretty incredible. How could you hate Doctor Strange 1? Like, it was like the smartest MCU movie that they put out. Like, he trapped Homeboy in like an endless death cycle. Come on now.
I don't know. You ready for the grand finale? What else you have on your list before we get into Death of the Justice League?
Did you read Rogues 2?
I did. It's an orange reach back here. I read that today. Definitely enjoyed that. That is continued to be really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It felt a little lengthy, but like I love like how into Gorilla City they got, and like how that society is structured and everything that's going on there. I was a little bit baffled on like the whole where they're talking about like the trucks coming in and out and the buildings like built into the mountain and all that. I was like that. I don't know. Like it seems super obvious that like that's where the vault is that they're looking for.
I don't think it's going to be anywhere they're looking for. It's definitely not in the bank, you know, because that's where they're going.
Yeah, but like it was so obvious when they pointed it out, and then everybody's like, "No, we got to go in the bank to find the vault." And I was like, wouldn't it make more sense for there to be like a central vault, like in the mountain, where like people can't get to it at all? So like I don't know if that's a red herring or like what's going on there, but other than that, I thought it was really cool. I like Trickster and stuff, the way he's like getting beat up, but also like playing them for all their secrets and stuff. You know, all this stuff was really cool. I liked it. I enjoyed this one as much as the first one.
Mm-hmm. I love the dynamic.
What's his name? Mirror Master too, like being all like messed up, like withdrawing and all that.
Now, the dynamic between the team is fantastic. Like the whole everybody having their own voice thing comes out perfectly in this, and I like that we got introduced to Gorilla City, and the way that they did it was great. When Leonard and them come through the bushes, and you see like this old like Tarzan looking setup, like we're here. Yeah. And I couldn't figure out, I honestly couldn't figure out if Leonard legitimately thought that they were there or not, because it wasn't until the trickster's like, oh, I see right through this, that we really get down into it. And Gorilla City, the real one, was fantastic. Looking at like, dude, this is excessive. This is really excessive. And getting introduced to the hierarchy in there, and the way it's being ran like a mob, like the mob runs a place. We got a little bit of dissent amongst the people that are in there.
Yeah. it kind of reminded me of Wakanda, like the way like you go through this whole illusion and then you get there and it's like, oh man, like this is incredibly advanced compared to what we got going on, And then like like obviously like New Bern, it's got the whole like mob thing going on in it, so that's kind of interesting. But I also listened to this podcast called History of Japan, and it's like this guy, like he lives in like Seattle or something, but he's like lived in Japan for years. He's got like a PhD in like Japanese history and stuff. And so he does this podcast about like the history of Japan and stuff. And it's really interesting and cool. But this week he did like this special episode where he was being interviewed basically. And he kind of like told the story of like the rise of the Yakuza and like how they operate and stuff. And it was really cool because, in the like 80s, whenever they first kind of came around and stuff, like, once they really got their rise to power and stuff, and they became more than just like one unit, and there was like turf wars and stuff. Like basically, the Yakuza, they rose to basically run Japan, and so you kind of like that was their ultimate downfall, right? Is like the mob running things is like kind of a good thing to a certain point, and then they become too powerful, and it becomes bad for everything, And so like I was kind of like had that in the back of my head as well. They went into like Gorilla City and all that, and it was like showing how like it's basically just like a mob run city, I was like, yeah, like this is kind of what he was describing with the Yakuza. Like it all starts to fall apart once like one person realizes that nobody has any power except for that one guy,
Yeah. You think that Leonard's about to have a man on his side? Like he got snatched up at the end by the detective dude who obviously isn't a fan of Grodd. So I think that he's about to steer them in the right direction personally. Like he recognized him immediately. Cold, what are you doing here?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it's Sam, right? The one that was at the beginning of the first issue in the bar? The one that like revealed the secret?
I don't want to say it, but all these gorillas look the same to me.
One of us had to, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Sam who was at the bar like drinking in the first issue. Yeah.
The one that they got the information from.
Yeah, and remember he's like drinking and he's all like depressed and stuff, and he's like, they're like, what's his, man, I forget who comes up next to him, but he's like, hey, Grodd, like, oh, no, you're not Grodd. I thought you were the cool gorilla, and all this stuff. And he's like, man, forget about Gorilla City and Gorilla Grodd. Like, he just has this big vault. Like, because they're like, he's running around like getting banana money or something. And he's like, no, like, you don't understand. He has like this vault full of like untraceable gold that he's just like sitting on. And, Captain, what's his name? Captain Cold. He's like on the other side of him getting like 7 shots or something, and he hears all that information. And so like, that's where the whole heist came from in the first place. So then in this issue, they show us like, he don't really like the way that Grodd is running things. And so, yeah, I think like he knows that, he recognizes Leonard. So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to realize that they're kind of on the same side. Sort of what we were describing with Godzilla and Power Rangers, right? Like, oh, like we're not the same, and then they realize actually we're on the same side of this coin. So like, let's team up instead. I think that's what we're about to get.
Well, it's definitely be fun. I'm not expecting all these people to make it out of here alive either. So I think that's going to get a little bit of violence in the next issue. This one did a good job of pushing the plot forward, though. It got us there. I like the dynamic of getting there too, watching their travels, and like in the beginning, that was a nice little touch. The artwork is awesome. It looks great in this prestige format. I'm not sure who that is. Leo Max.
Yeah,
Leo Max.
Unfamiliar with the artwork, but yeah, it looks great.
The last one I have. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, speaking of the team dynamic, I thought it was really cool whenever they do the Bronze Tiger and Golden Glider reveal. It's like, yeah, like that's perfect. That puts some good tension into everything. So I like how these characters play off each other.
Speaking of characters playing off each other, there's a lot of characters that die in this book. So this was your first step back into the Justice League title in a while, and you messaged me saying that it did not disappoint. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, so I mean, we've pretty like openly talked about what's it called? We had talked about like future state Justice League, right? And like how cool that team was and stuff. And like, we basically just got a big tease out of all of that, you know? And so that's one thing I've been waiting for to come back around is like, where are we going to get into that? Like, they walked in and there's just like a bunch of dead, like, Justice Leaguers, you know, like how do we get into this, you know, like, and so, that's one thing I've been waiting to see come back around. And so whenever we found out like this is where it's all like going to come from and stuff, like I was into it. Like, let's kill these Justice League fools and like let's get on to the next group, you know. And so for me, like going into this issue, I was like, I really hope this is just like, you know, basically a bunch of setup for that, and like not like some long drawn out process where we're going to have a mini series that leads into a mini series that leads into a mini series sort of thing, you know. And so for me, this issue delivered. Like, this was basically like everything that happens before the title sequence, you know, like you get all of this like intense stuff that like gives you just enough context to understand what's going to happen next. And then like, boom, death of the Justice League. Let's get on to the event. So I enjoyed it. It dropped me off exactly where I wanted to be.
We did have the miniseries, then the event, because it all started with the Infinite Frontier miniseries where a new Darkseid showed up in a new powerful form, and we had the formation of the Justice League Incarnate trying to stop him from what they thought he was doing, was destroying the multiverse, finding these splits and tears in it in the wake of Death Metal, and taking advantage of it to unleash his power. And like he was going for the whole anti-life thing again, but it turns out that he was trying to get to the Oblivion Machine and try to overtake the Great Darkness itself. And it didn't work out, and he got overtaken by it, and he got added to the roster of the Dark Army. So there's this whole group of powerhouse villains that are being led by the Great Darkness. They're all under its control, and it looks like Pariah is at the helm currently. So the Justice League and the Justice League Incarnate go out to try to stop it, and they go out arrogantly, mainly with Green Arrow like just running his mouth saying, "We got this. This is what we do. We stop crises." And they get decimated in classic fashion. And it was really cool how they did it as an homage to Crisis on Infinite Earths when Barry Allen faded away, stopping the Anti-Monitor's machine. We see Pariah release the Great Darkness on the DC's Holy Trinity, and we get this 2-page splash of both of them, or all three of them, kind of disintegrating slowly, just like Barry did. It was really cool. And
yeah, I never read that, so like, you know, I didn't have that connection to it, but I thought it was fantastic the way it was pulled off, because not only like it's like three, like, you know, there's kind of an arc to them, and then the panels at the bottom are also arced, and like, so the way the whole page just like comes together is like chef's kiss. I'm a big fan of Rafa Sandoval. Like his artwork is fantastic. He killed it on the Flash run, and so I'm glad to see him and Williamson working together again on this, because I love his artwork. I think it's incredible.
Fire. And then he immediately decimated the Justice League Incarnate as well, including, and this is interesting to me, Dr. Multiverse. She was introduced in Justice League Incarnate #1, and I'm expecting her to have like a major role in this, or some like to be something she does to be key in this whole thing. Like, because why else would they ever introduce her? I don't get that part. But Black Adam, like it was pointed out in the chat, he is the one Justice Leaguer that was left alive. Though going into this, we knew the Justice League was going to be killed off, but we knew that one member was going to be left alive. And so for the people that know like that they were all going to die, like it's just been wondering what's that one character that's going to be left standing. And I thought it was going to be Green Arrow, because how he's played up so much in comics right now with Checkmate and bankrolling the Justice League, and he's kind of all over the place. But he's the only one that gets killed individually in the whole thing. And Doomsday, in classic homage fashion as well, because this whole death of the Justice League in issue number 75 is an homage to the death of Superman in issue 75 at the hands of Doomsday. So it was Doomsday that killed Ollie in this. He died at the hands of Doomsday, and just boom, just bashes him. It was dope. But right after all that happened, you get Black Adam and Pariah lock up, and Pariah's talking down to him like he's a false god, this, that, and the other, and he starts to disintegrate Black Adam, and he's able to get the magic word out one time, and the lightning bolt hits him and separates him, and he falls back to Earth, to the Hall of Justice, where the legacy characters are at, and he's kind of able to give them the information that the Justice League is dead, and that's where it leaves us hanging until Saturday. We don't have to wait long, because this coming Saturday, Yes. So a week from yesterday, Dark Crisis issue 0 will drop as DC's offering to the
Free
young
comic
adult
book
and
day.
up readers. Yeah, there'll be 3 titles from DC. You'll get a Super Pets title for the kids. Finn and Monkey will definitely be getting their Super Pets comic. And then there's a young adult reader, like for like the teens. I'm not sure what it is. I can't remember what it was. It's all included on the video that I did for the whole preview for New Comic Book Day. But then for the adults, we are getting Dark Crisis issue number 0. And if you're lucky, if you get there, if you pre-ordered it, there is a Virgin variant foiled out cover, and it's this image behind me here. I've seen them. I held them. They are glorious, and can't wait to get my copy. I'm really excited for this series, so much so that myself and Sector 2815 are doing a deep dive as it comes out. We reviewed and spoke on this issue in more details over on his channel, and those videos will release on Thursdays following the release of books. So, for example, this coming Thursday, there's nothing new between 75 and Thursday, so there won't be a video. But the following week, we'll be breaking down and talking Dark Crisis issue number 0 from Free Comic Book Day. So be sure to check out his channel as well. Justice League Dark is in they've been in the back page of the Justice League going into this, and they were present in the Hall of Justice in this issue when Black Adam landed. Bobo was sitting right there at the controls. So expect Justice League Dark to have a small presence through this where it matters. And also, it's been announced that supposed to be the next big summer event for next year is going to be focusing on the Justice League Dark. So I'm assuming it's what Rom V has been building up to with Merlin going to the Source Wall and even talking with Darkseid's father and everything. Like they're really building that up, and I hope they take their time with it like they're doing, because that's going to be dope. But that's all I've got for this week. I mean, that was pretty much an hour straight of just burning through books. You got any other ones you want to touch on before we bounce out of here?
I read this book called Starward. It is a Steve Orlando book. It's heavy metal, part of that like heavy metal elements line they have going now. And I think it came out in March, but I had just heard about it the other day. I was like, I'm gonna check this out. It's really cool. It's like this, it taps into like Greek mythology and stuff, but also kind of like respins it and everything, right? So it starts out and like Atlas, like he holds up like all of reality, and he flinched like for a moment. He's keeping this like him holding up reality and maintaining reality, like basically keeps chaos in this like locked away outside of reality, outside of what's possible. And he flinched for just a moment, and it let chaos in. And like the timestamp on it, in fact, is like like the beginning of time or something, So like this is forever ago, as far back as we know. And so like basically whenever he flinched, chaos is now in reality, right? So Atlas has like 7 daughters that show up to like basically try to like help Atlas fight chaos and like chaos wreck shop. So then basically you fast forward and you're in like the modern era, and this girl wakes up and she's like having her 19th, well, actually it's her 20th birthday. So she's enjoying the last hours of her 19th birthday. And you get this impression, like she's very relatable, right? Like she's going to college, and her parents have like these high standards and kind of want her to be like in med school and stuff. And that's not really her. Like she's really into like Greek mythology and stuff. And so, she's struggling with like fitting into the mold that her parents have created for her. And so she's going through her day, her 19th birthday, and like she's talking with like her friend or whatever. And she's like, so aren't you like excited it's your birthday or something? She's like, well, technically it's not even my birthday until now. And all of a sudden she just like gets like almost like paralyzed, and she falls in this pool. She's like heavy as a rock, and like basically she's awoken as like one of the 7 sisters. And so now like she has this like crazy perception, and she understands, she can see how reality has shattered and stuff, and chaos, like she's like has this other voice in her head now That's like the old version of her, the old guard, I guess. And she's telling her, like, you know, you need to awaken your other six sisters. Like, you are going to need to be together for chaos. And so, like, she's like, right at the end of the issue, you know, she's like, okay, so she's on her way to meet, like, the first sister and try to, like, awaken her, you know. And she's like, so how long did you say we have until chaos arrives? And, like, you see, like, this red lightning bolt as, like, reality shatters through the sky, you know, and, like, chaos is already here. And, like, that's where it leaves off. I'm like, this is some really cool stuff. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It's really clean, really modern, but it's got like this real straight line angularness to everything. And so it makes it really cool. Like, it almost has like this impression, almost a motif of like stained glass, you know, which again plays into like the shattering of reality and chaos kind of breaking into from the unknown into reality as it is. So it was a really cool first issue. I definitely want to check out the second one. Based on what I've talked to, Who
published it?
It's published by Heavy Metal. It's part of that Heavy Metal Elements line they have going. So I think they only put one of those issues out like every 2 months or something. This one came out in March, I think like mid-March. So maybe the second issue will be out this month. I'll definitely check it out. I've read some stuff by Steve Orlando I didn't really care for. It was like pretty straightforward and everything. And then I've also read like Project Patron, which I thought was like criminally underrated. It was just like this really genius twist on like the whole superhero thing and like what a superhero means to the world and like what's left in his void, you know? So I enjoy some of his stuff. And this seems like one of the more interesting, complicated books that he's writing. So that's where he seems to do a little better. I don't know if that was top notch. Like, I felt like I didn't really have a concise statement to say there other than it was a cool book. So check it out.
Cool book. So Dave and Steve were talking about Pedal and Pete's auction. Pedal and Pete is known to go off on tangents, to go off on crazy tangents, to rip books up, to eat books. Just he's hilarious. like his auctions move really, really fast, and it's nothing new at all for a book to sit there. And if no one, because I'm talking like everything typically moves. You know what I mean? And he'll grab a book and rip it and just throw it across the room. You know, he's not exclusive to comics at all. And he doesn't typically take offers on something. Like if you're going to sit there, because like he'll have like 4 books up and then one like a big boy book, like he's had like the first appearance.
Is this the one with the rings?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I watched one of those.
Yeah, so you know he's wild.
Yeah.
What's entertaining about it is he's wild. Like his whole thing is no apologies. You know, like it's not for everybody. Like I would never say like y'all should all check this out. It's not for everybody. Like
no snowflakes allowed there. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, not at all. So if you want to sit there and just hang out and watch and just be entertained, it's definitely you can do that. If you want to sit there and watch and see if something comes up that you want, go for it. But that's not the auction where you go and you make offers or try to lowball or any of that, because it'll backfire 100% of the time, because that's not how he runs his sell. He puts the books up for what he can, and if you stay and actually watch, you'll see where he'll take, like it's not like often, but at least once or twice a show, he'll take like $100 book or a $50 book and say, special deal of the night, $5 gone. You know, once he's moved enough stuff, like he puts stuff out there, but he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time, and apparently Dave was a victim of one of it. I guess they didn't know that he went in there, didn't know that they rip up books. He doesn't do it like frequently. You know, the whack comics. If you're going to get offended about ripping up books, remember that you watch whack comics. So he said he was trying to bully Lasso into buying a book, and he wasn't. Lasso is a regular of that guy's channel, and so his book's getting ripped. Ryan was in the chat saying Ryan said goodbye to that book in the chat. Magic Lasso said goodbye, and no, he wasn't trying to bully anybody into buying a book. He's just being Pete. Yeah. It just happened to be a Wonder Woman book that was on the chopping block.
Yeah, that one that I watched, it was just like, yeah, he'll put them up. He'll be like real cheap on them too. And he's like, yeah, you know, like go ahead and go look it up if you want. But don't expect it to be here when you get back.
Burt fan member. No, I'm just not drawing lines in the sand like you're doing, Steve. I'm familiar with his auctions and how they go, and that's how they go. I'm glad to see you're drawing lines in the sand unnecessarily without knowing. I guess it's not for you. Don't think that Dave's the only person that he insulted tonight alone. That's normal Pete. Like if you don't like it, don't go. It's that easy. Yeah, it's not everybody's taste at all. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to bum anybody out. I like to talk comics with you guys because I don't have people who read them in my life. No, I'm sorry, man. We love talking comics with you. Last comic of the night that I got, though, because it was, I think it was Big Nosh that mentioned earlier about the last Ronin. So we did not break that down early on in it, but this was the final issue. This was it. And so we had the big payoff moment where Michelangelo goes off on his one-man mission to go fight Shredder's grandson. I think it's Hiroto is how you say it. But Casey and April are sidelined by the sewers flooding, because that's unheard of. So that was kind of the MacGuffin of the issue, is the sewers were flooding. And April was down there, so her daughter Casey is going looking for her. And that just pretty much is used as a device to get them away from the fight. So it could be a one-on-one with Hiroto and Mikey. And we get Hiroto pulling up with this really cool suit. I mean, I guess it was cool. I thought it was pretty cool. It reminded me of the original Tron to some degree. It's like a metal alloy, but it has like this red work around the edges of it. Reminded me of the old school Tron. And I thought it was pretty fun. It was a decent enough fight. It ended just like you expected it to, with them kind of fighting to the death of each other. They both fell. And it was kind of, it was tropey, but it is a Turtles book, And we're getting a lot of people that say the same thing that Steve mentioned up in here earlier, where he said that he enjoyed it. He didn't enjoy the epilogue. I heard a few people say that. And the epilogue was like, I guess, kind of Mikey waking up on the other side with his brothers and Splinter and Casey there. And they were making jokes about like the city smelling like farts and stuff, which classic Turtles, though, it kind of brought you right back down to that. And then after that, we see Casey training in the dojo, and she has a little tank where she's making some more turtles, growing some other turtles. And that was pretty much all there was to it. And it was just straightforward. It was exactly what I expected, and over the top. It wasn't too little. It was just what you'd kind of expect. And unfortunately, Nosh, I don't think that Ryan read it.
Yeah, I know I read the first two. I think I started the third one and didn't quite finish it. I'll probably just binge through all 5 of them now that the whole thing's over with. But I have not read the 5th one, and certainly not the 4th one.
Yeah, that was a cool moment aggressively, and I'm sorry to hear that. There was a moment in the fight when Mikey's just pulling, he's carrying his brother's weapons. And you saw him in the first issue when he lays them out, like the broken sword of Leonardo and all that. He comes at Hiroto with all the weapons. He's like, this is for Leo. This is for Donnie.
Oh, nice.
So he's glad that it took so long to come out on the book. But, a lot of people, including myself, at one point had expectations in an overly high place. I mean, I don't read Turtles current. I have a lot of the trades and I read through them just at a snail's pace here and there, but it definitely felt on brand for what I've read through those first 9 trades and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what I know of current Turtles, everything seemed pretty in line. So, which it looks like they're doing a reprint of Ninja Turtles #1 for Free Comic Book Day. So, everybody that's missed out on Turtles all these years, there's your chance.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got for tonight. You got anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's about it for me.
Well, I definitely appreciate everyone popping in. And been going about an hour and a half, so that's good timing. So we're going to cut it here. And be on the lookout tomorrow. I got a video coming out. I think tomorrow it's another first appearance challenge. I got tagged again by DJ Links to want me to do it again, but this time Just free pick my books, because last time I did put the parameters that it had to be DC and Raw, because I was challenged by Mad Spidey. So there's a lot of different books, 10 different books in this one, and tag 3 more people to see if they'll take it from there. And I'm excited to get that out. And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark. That's Ryan. But we are Legion.